Hello, hello, and welcome to the expert talk on Windows 11 IoT versus Windows 10 IoT. We are going to start in a couple of minutes. We're going to let people join, and we're going to start in a couple of minutes. Thank you so much for joining on Veterans Day. We're going to have a thought for them as well during that session. They've done a lot for us, so very thankful that you're joining in such a day. We are going to start in a couple of minutes. So if you need a coffee or whatever, this is the right time to do so. Hello and welcome to our weekly webinar. Today we're excited to talk about a very interesting subjects for everybody interested in Edge. Microsoft has been releasing a lot of different announcements, has made a lot of different announcements in terms of operating systems, and Ken and Tze from Arrow are going to join us to talk about them and help us understand what we need to do on when. Very quickly on my side, my name is Philippe Caz. I'm the CEO of Tokyo Networks. For people who don't know us, we are very focus on edge native applications and edge computing as a whole. So we're tracking the emergence of this technology platform that we call edge computing, that is gonna leverage all the next generation of applications that are being built right now at the edge as opposed to in the cloud. So we are focusing on that. We are tracking about 60,000 different keywords on our platform, and we are tracking the entire technology space, including AI, blockchain, all the technologies needed to build those applications. And we're tracking also everything at the infrastructure level. So very, very excited to have Ken and Tze joining today. Ken and Tze, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ken Marlin. I'm the Microsoft Windows IoT Alliance Manager here at Arrow. I've been with Arrow about 6 years and been in the distribution channel for over 30 years and been supporting Microsoft products for over 30 years. Thank you guys for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, good morning and good evening, especially to the participants here in EMEA. My name is Tze Chiew. I'm based in the Netherlands. I'm Ken's counterpart here in EMEA, based supporting EMEA for all the Windows IoT business. I've been with Arrow for 2 years now and supporting Microsoft business over 10 years.
Great. And so very quickly, right, for those who don't know the format of our webinar, we are open for questions. You have the Q&A. You have the Q&A section and then the chat section where you can ask questions. And on our side, either the question is in the flow of what Ken and Tze are talking about, and we'll ask them the question, or it's not in the flow, and then we'll have a Q&A session at the end where we're going to answer all those questions. So do not hesitate to ask questions whenever you have those questions, and then we'll answer them when it's appropriate. The other thing is we are going to share both the recording and the slide deck in either during this afternoon or tomorrow morning. So for people who are interested, you'll be able to have access to those 2 pieces of data. And so moving forward, let's talk about the agenda. We have the first part is going to be about talking about the new product updates. So here is what happened, and then we'll do a deeper dive around Windows 11 IoT Enterprise, Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC, and then we'll talk about which OS is the right OS for you. And before starting, right, we wanted to ask you one question, which is about where you are right now. And so if you can, just we're going to launch a question. So if you can answer, that would be awesome. And then we'll share the results.
What do you think that answer would be, Ken, out of the options, the majority, let's say?
Yeah, I think most of our customers are probably on the earlier versions of LTSB, the 2015, 2016, and maybe some good mix of 2019.
Yeah,
I think most people have moved on from 7 and 8, but we'll see. And I'm curious about the Android Linux as well. See if we get any of those.
Yeah, and if we see any answers that's moving to the professional version, it would be a good discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. Pro is actually one of our top competitors. We compete more with Pro than we do with some of these others on here. So,
all right. So I think we have the results, right? So let me share the results. Here you go.
Wow.
Okay.
So Windows 10 LTSC 2019 is the clear leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because a lot of people have moved on to the 19, which is now 3 years old. So it's a question of whether you move on to 2021 or Windows 11. So there's that's obviously the reason for this webinar, is to kind of have us talk through those discussion points. So this will be good.
Awesome. So let's get going. So I'm going to stop sharing, and we're going to go to the next slide, which is basically if you could just tell us what happened, right? So what are the key announcements that have been made?
Yeah, I'll jump in on this one and start. This is a high-level overview of all the new products that Microsoft just launched in the last 5-6 months here. Actually, not even that long. So at the bottom, the what we call eFlow was the Azure IoT Edge for Linux on Windows. That product launched back in June, sort of quietly, but for our customers that build IoT connected edge devices, a lot of people have been waiting on that particular product in order to run the Linux workloads within a Windows container. And it supports all of the products above it. So starting with the server on the right, IoT 2022, it launched in August and is now available. And then right after that, Microsoft kind of surprised the world with Windows 11 IoT, or Windows 11 in general. And the IoT version launched at the same time on October 5th. And then technically, we're still waiting for the the official launch date of the LTSC 2021 Windows 10 product. And having a Windows 11 product that launched before the big Windows 10 product that we've been waiting on sort of threw a wrench into this, and has a lot of customers going confused. So yeah, I don't know about Tze. Have you experienced that same situation where the customers are kind of like,
yeah,
which one are we supposed to be focused on?
Absolutely. Actually, the first time I got the question regarding Windows 11 IoT, I was saying, no, there's no Windows 11 IoT, because 10 was supposed to be the final version. And shortly after, I got more and more questions and more news came out. So it definitely was surprising, to say the least. And even more surprising that it was released prior to Windows 10 release, absolutely. And yeah, I think that's also gives us this space to talk about these two OSs in particular, right, in this webinar, because
Yeah,
a lot has happened. I would say normally it doesn't, in a typical year, you don't see that many new releases in the IoT channel. So having so many new stuff to talk about is great, and especially now with climate.
We've gone like 3 years without anything new to talk about, and now we have a ton of things to talk about.
To talk about, yeah, absolutely. Can you talking about LTSC? So I'm kind of moving to the next slide here. So when can we expect Windows 11 IoT LTSC, and how is this everything is gonna shape out?
Yeah, as you can see on this roadmap slide. So this roadmap is really showing everything that's available on the LTSC channel. As you can see, we can only speculate at this moment when the Win 11 IoT LTSC is coming out. Yeah. We expect it to be released within maybe the next 2 or 3 years. And the reason for that is when we look at LTC channel or Windows IoT in general, it was released together with the consumer version, and LTC channel typically will wait for a product to be more proven before it gets into the LTSC channel. And we definitely can expect some updates in the coming weeks and months for Windows 11. So that's why we expect 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
And I definitely wanted to sort of put this roadmap at this point in the presentation because there is no LTSC version. So I wanted to make it clear that we're going to be talking about the non-LTSC version of Windows 11, and because it's definitely a top question I get is, is this latest Windows 11, is it an LTSC? And if it's not, then why wasn't it? And how long will it be till we get one, right? So.
And why does it take that long? Why does it take like 2-3 years to between?
Yeah, Microsoft definitely likes it to be a solid, reliable product, right? And most OEMs in our space, they don't run the latest and greatest of anything. They're going to wait until it's fully patched and fully updated, and all the drivers have been worked out. So I wouldn't see a lot of OEMs moving immediately to Windows 11 in the first place. So it's the LTSC, the long-term service one, gets 10 years of support, and it has a lot of extra features that OEMs like for their appliances. And all of those things, which we will cover some of those features today, they have to be tested and proven that they're going to be reliable. And so it will take some time. And Microsoft hasn't given us a date, but the word is probably 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years. All right, so switching to the next slide. Any words of wisdom or things that people should draw from this slide?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I was just jumping in real quick around ESU because I'm spending my daily world in this environment, which ESU is your extended security updates. And so the point of this slide here is to note that every one of these legacy products, it has the end of support date shown on the right, has officially passed now, with pause ready just passing about a month ago. And so none of these products have security updates anymore. And so you definitely want to be moving on to these newer products that we're talking about. But there are extended security updates where you can extend it further than these dates. However, it does cost a good amount of money, but you can definitely, get with us if you have a situation where you just you can't move right now, and you have to keep supporting these products, especially in a medical scenario, medical and security scenarios where you've got to keep these things updated. So have you, Tze, have you been getting customers too that are still trying to extend these products?
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite a complex topic as well. There are a lot of contract conversations on extending security updates, as well as maybe one thing I would like to highlight, which are happening, especially with the post-ready version, right? It's a real cases. We talk about retail solutions or solutions where the OEM might be out of the picture. And normally this program is really for OEMs to handle. But we also have seen now more than one example in EMEA where it happens to be that the OEM is out of the picture, and then how can we help end customers to get the extended security updates, and especially also, as you mentioned earlier, having a conversation on moving to a modern product.
And is there a configuration? So it seems like there is options for everybody here, but is there a configuration where people have to make the decision now?
Yeah, you know what, Microsoft publishes the end of security, end of support date, 10 years ago. So these products all get 10 years. And so 10 years ago, people were aware of this date, but just due to many different complex things in different environments, they drug their feet for various reasons. And now they're in a situation where either maybe an application won't run on Windows 10, or there's a hardware scenario where literally their device only works on an older piece of hardware that isn't supported on the newer OS. But yes, like Tze said, we have customers here in the US too that are in the restaurant business, cash registers, kiosks, and there might be a situation where they're trying to move to the new OS, but they just can't get there quite yet, but they have to keep these things secure. And if that's the case, get with us here at Arrow, because we can possibly help. Awesome.
And so let's now move to each specific product, right? And I think it's time to go for a new poll. So this is the second poll about. So we wanted to ask you, right? So if you're already aware of Windows IoT 11 IoT Enterprise, what's your thought on it, just to for us to help us guide the conversation a little bit more. So I'm launching the poll now, and looking forward to receiving the answers.
Yeah, again on this one, I think my take is not to steer the results, so I can give them a little bit of chance to answer, but the fact that it's not an LTSC version, I would think people are waiting. I actually have had a few customers place some orders for this product already, though, so I am curious to see if the people are interested. I think the big issue, and Tze, help me out here too, is what I've heard from my customers is their customers will see that there's a Windows 11 and they'll wonder, well, why is your product not running on the latest version, right? So a lot of OEMs will have to kind of explain that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly the same here in EMEA. Also, we have received the first orders for Windows 11 IoT. And as when I tried to find out, okay, why are they already looking into this while it's very new still? I guess they might not even have fully tested it.
Yeah.
Why are they placing the licenses already? And the answer is exactly the same. Yeah, because it's the latest one.
Yeah, let me, so I'm going to end the poll now and share the results, which is, I think Ken got it right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was hoping for. That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, people are. I mean, I would say almost if you had the second and third, right? So focus on Windows 10, or we'll test 11 now and we'll await the LTSC version. That's almost 83%, right? So everybody is on that that theme. So let's go. So let's go real quick on what's happening there, and we'll see. We'll talk a little bit more maybe about Windows 10. So let's just. I need to close that thing. Yeah. So tell me a little bit what's new. What's new on Windows 11 IoT then?
I'll let you go with this one, Tze. Go with this one.
All right. Yeah, so as you can see here, so the cadence is now once a year rather than what we had with Windows 10, the semi-annual channel. Now it's just once a year there will be a release. Also, the life cycle is extended to 36 months instead of 18 to 30 months. And personally, I think this is a good trend because even though most of the customers will stick to the LTSC version, the long-term servicing version with 10-year support, still once in a while you get OEMs that require the SAC version. And having this longer cadence, or let's say once a year cadence, makes the product also more stable, is my expectation. As well, the user experience will be different compared to Windows 10. So when you boot up, the entire experience will be different. Maybe the last point would be one of the reasons for customers to choose Windows 11 over Windows 10, because it supports USB 4 as well as Wi-Fi 6E, which will not be supported by Windows 10. And what's changed, multi-app kiosk mode is not available yet for Windows 11 IoT Enterprise, at least not for this version. But it is supported on Windows 10 LTSC 2021. So this could be also a good indicator which of the two OSs is more suitable.
And we can jump to the next slide and just jump right into the kiosk mode, because I know that's right on the next slide, because that was something we definitely wanted to cover here in the webinar, is the fact that as noted at the bottom there, the multi-app kiosk mode was a feature that a number of my customers have been waiting for LTSC 2021, and that is in the LTSC 2021 Win 10 product, but it's delayed for the Windows 11. So whether that shows up, in 6 months as an update on Windows 11, or if it doesn't show up until the LTSC release, we don't know that yet, but it will be coming. When you're building an appliance, the shell or the kiosk or the mode that the customer interacts with is very important. And so when it comes to this product, you have a custom shell via the shell launcher version 2, which was updated to version 2, which allowed both Win32 and universal Windows 10 applications to run. And then if you're using a UWP app, you can use the signed access kiosk mode. So you have access to all of these in Windows 11 IoT Enterprise, except for the multi-app, where you can do multi-apps at the same time.
How do you feel about this annual release versus semi-annual release for Windows 10? I mean, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, I believe it's a good thing, because as I said, most of the OEMs will be on LTSC version. In a rare occasion where they do need the latest update or feature updates, at least they don't need to worry about the next release while they're still designing, let's say, the current SAC version. So having this 1 year cadence, I believe for OEMs, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
How do you see it, Ken?
Yeah, absolutely. If I didn't include my roadmap for the SAC Windows 10 products here, because it would fill your entire screen. There's like 15 builds of Windows 10 now, with it coming out twice a year, and then the support window was 18 to 30 months, depending on. Is a complete nightmare for most customers that use the SAC version of Windows 10. So moving to an annual release is a huge benefit, and we know it's 1 a year. We know it's 36 months. Really simplifies things. Again, not many of our customers use the non-LTSC version, or in this case, it's going to be the annual version now. Not many customers use that version. But if they do, it's way easier to manage now.
Awesome. And what are the main issues associated with Windows 11? So we talked about the multi-app kiosk, and it seems if I go to the next slide that there is some issues associated with enterprise name during install. Is there? Can you comment on this one? And then is there any issues?
Yeah. So we wanted to not necessarily highlight this issue, but obviously it helps us in answering this question that comes up when our customers start testing the product. So when you get the media and a key for the Windows 11 IoT Enterprise to start your testing. And if you need that, let us know. We can get you the product to start testing with. When you do the install, it comes to a screen where you enter a key. And if you skip that screen, which most people do, because you're going to add the key later. But if you skip the key screen, you get the image on the right, which will have two choices. And one of those choices that's highlighted is Windows 10. And you're like, well, I thought I was installing Windows 11, but it says Windows 10. And that's a typo. So we're trying to let the customers know that's a typo. It should say Windows 11 IoT Enterprise. And although the two IoT and non-IoT versions are very similar, when you're working with the IoT version, you absolutely want to be installing the IoT version. And so you will select that during the install. And of course, it will install Windows 11 IoT Enterprise. And then the image on the left, if you do a system about to see what's actually installed, it will still say Windows 10, not 11 there. And there is an update that, once you connect the device to the internet and download the latest update, it fixes that. So, but in the actual installation media, Microsoft is not going to be fixing that.
Yep.
And on that screen where you skip the key, if you enter the Windows 11 key there, then you will not see the image on the right. It'll bypass that, of course. But you still will it will show Windows 10. And it's weird because it's clearly running Windows 11, but yet it'll say it's running Windows 10. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know what's the minimum requirement, with Windows 11?
Yeah, Tze, I'll let you jump in on this and on the requirements.
Yeah, so as you can see, the minimum requirements on the screen already. But what I would like to highlight definitely here is, and this is also something where we get tons of questions about, is the last line, TPM. If TPM is required, and the answer is yes. And this, again, in my opinion, would be one of the topics or the reasons for OEMs to choose Windows 10 over 11, especially when they have to deal with kind of legacy hardware or hardware where TPM 2.0 is not available, which makes Windows 11 not really suitable for their application. And there's also this error message. Ken, do you want to cover that bit?
Yeah. Another top question we get is, obviously, when customers start playing with this product to test it out, they're going to get the message. In most cases, odds are high, you're going to get this message that says this PC can't run Windows 11, but it won't tell you why. So you're kind of like, well, I know these minimums, but I feel like my system met these, but yet it's still telling me that it can't run Windows 11. And so if you want to know exactly why, what you do is, when you're on that screen, you hold Shift plus F10. It'll open up a command window. You'll change over to the directory, the Panther directory, and then you'll view that setup error log. And in that error log, it will tell you exactly why it's not able to run it. And I will add, if you are like me and you wanted to throw this OS in a virtual machine really quickly, what did catch me off is the fact that versus Windows 10, Windows 11 also requires a minimum of 2 cores, where Windows 10 was a single core. And if you're creating a virtual machine, the default is 1 core. So that one got me a couple of times, because when you're creating the virtual machine, it's got to have at least 2 cores. And then you also, inside the virtual machine, have to enable the TPM and the secure boot option. And then your VM will launch and you won't get that same error that it can't run. So keep those in mind. But yes, like Tze said, if you're dealing with a little bit older hardware and you're not ready to do the TPM stuff, then again, the Win 10 LTSC 2021 is going to be a better fit for you.
Yeah, and of course, we also see that the storage requirement is also much higher compared to Windows 10 device. Yeah, I don't know if it will be a huge impact for many OEMs. My thinking is at the same time, of course, the cost per GB storage, let's say, it's dropping year over year. So everything is getting bigger. But it could be that an OEM with a smaller device or smaller footprint device, that this could be a showstopper as well.
Yeah, Windows 11 is also 64-bit only, so there's no 32-bit option. And the RAM doubled from 2 gig to 4 gig. And the storage on 10 was 20 gig, and now it's 64 gig. So quite a big jump there, as well as, newer chipsets are going to be supported. So it's a big jump in hardware for folks. And the big question we get to is whether the LTSC version will keep these requirements, and we can't answer that yet. I kind of expect that they will, but maybe they'll loosen the TPM. Who knows? By the time 2 or 3 years, they probably won't. It'll probably be required. But again, we don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's move to the meat, right? 83% of the people are interested in Windows 10 IoT LTSC. I had one question before that, and I don't know if you have the answer. That's a question from the audience, from Travis, who was asking, do we know what the build version of Windows 10 IoT Enterprise will be? And he was asking if it was sometime soon.
The next version of what? I missed the first part.
Of the Windows 10 IoT Enterprise.
Oh, well, yeah, it's supposed to be, it's supposed to probably be next week, but we still don't have the date. We don't have the date. It's definitely going to be November. Microsoft has said November. We don't have the exact, what they call GA date, general availability date. It is available to start testing and building your product. OEMs just can't sell it yet to their customer, but as an OEM, you can get the LTSC 2021 now and start testing.
Awesome. So let's start with the same thing. Let's run the poll, see where people are at in terms of Windows 10 IoT. So I'm launching the poll now. So when it comes to the new Windows IoT 10 IoT, where are you? I'm ready to launch a new product on it. I'm interested in some of the new features. I will stay with the older Windows 10 IoT Enterprise, and I will wait for the release of Windows 11 IoT Enterprise LTSC. Ken, any thoughts?
Yeah, from my experiences, everyone's been dying to get their hands on this product. It's been 3 years. We've been waiting on it. There's a lot of cool features, which we're going to speak about in just a second. So I think people it's either the first two.
Either the first two.
Yeah.
And in the chat, we got a question if it's worth upgrading to 2021 if they're on 2019 currently. And in my opinion, it depends on a couple of factors. First one would be, are there any of the new features that are compelling enough for you to make that switch, as well as where are you currently with your design cycle? And is the the remaining life cycle of 2019, is that good enough for you? I think these would be a couple of things that you have to keep in mind. And then it's depending on pros and cons, because at the end, designing a new on a new platform does require resources, of course, and in some cases also certification. So those, depends, I would say.
Okay, awesome. So let's we are done. We have 55 response, which is pretty good. Little bit less than the one before, but let's see the results. So I think Ken was right again. The second one win.
Here we go. Perfect. That's what we were hoping for.
Yeah. I mean, you still have 27% of the people that are ready to launch a new product on it right away, right? So it's exciting as well, right? It seems like things are happening.
And the second one, I agree with the second one too, because most people won't jump right on a product right when it launches. But again, people have been waiting for this one for so long that it's kind of a battle between those top two.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, let's move to the next slide and talk about what's new, right? So what's new for Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC?
So starting with the Internet Explorer, the browser. So, and just so you know, the product does support both IE and Edge, but it's moving obviously away from the older Internet Explorer to Edge. And then you have the improved Kiosk Mode, which we've already talked about, which gives you the different shell launchers and the different kiosk modes. The kiosk mode's been improved to give you the multi-app. And then we have the dual app. We call it was going to be dual screen, dual app. They changed the name sort of to dual application focus, which is it'll give you two screens, two inputs at the same time. It's really an area Microsoft has needed to work on in the retail space, typically around the cash register experience, where you typically only had one screen that you had to flip around and share. In this case, they're going to be able to do two. And then soft real-time, another huge feature that people have been asking for. And we'll cover that more in a second. And then an edge device image builder, which is something that has also been kept fairly quiet and is now we're able to talk about, which is a tool that will allow you to create, sort of use templates to create images and reduce your footprint. A little bit of ARM64 Silicon support is still in the works. And then the eFlow, the Edge for Linux on Windows, which I spoke about earlier.
Which one are the most exciting, do you think?
Yeah, I don't know about Tze, but Tze, for me, it's the soft real time and the toolkit. Those are my two.
Yeah, and in in retail environment, as well as hospitality or healthcare, the dual application could be interesting as well. But maybe this is also a good question later on for our audience, right? Because there's some, as many customers we have, as many opinions we'll have as well on this one. Yeah, I agree. I think the soft real time as well as the device image builders are definitely something very interesting to look out for. Yeah.
Awesome. And so we can talk about we'll talk about it more during the Q&A for the edge device image builder, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So unified right filter improvement, right? So we created a slide for it. I mean, what's you know, can we
Yeah, and it's funny because we left this one off the previous slide, but it definitely should have been a bullet as well. So the unified right filter. So in real world, we had a lot of customers on WES 7 that used the unified right filter in enhanced right filter for WES. Say it was called enhanced right filter back in the WES 7 days, and they loved it. And when they moved to Windows 10, the unified right filter didn't quite have all the same features, and now it does. So and it's been improved quite a bit. So now you can create the swap file on any volume instead of just having it on the boot volume. So now you can pick a different volume to have the swap file created on. You can also do a full commit to the read-only memory, which you could not do previously. And there is a new read-only media mode. So we don't want to spend too much time here to go too deep here, but just know that if you liked that WES 7 feature, it has been fixed now. So this is probably another one for people who build devices that could lose power and want to come back. Kiosks are a perfect example of this too. This has been improved greatly.
Say any thoughts?
Yeah, I think, well, also thinking about real life use cases.
Yep.
I think with industries or solutions where you'll have SSD drives that depend on, well, where the wear of the SSD depends on how many times you write on a drive. And with this feature, you can reduce the number of writes a lot, and as well as as Ken said, you can redirect the writes to any drive that you assign it to. So that means the OS drive is spared from wearing out. And in the past, I had use cases or projects in industrial automation, robotics, where they picked the wrong SSD drive. And because of the number of writes required that the robot does per second, within 6 months, actually they saw failures in the field. So besides picking out the right SSD drive, I think a solution like this can also be helpful.
Awesome.
To extend the life cycle of the SSD.
Yeah, that sounds great. So let's talk about the new edge device image builders that you're excited about. You know, can OEM use the image builder tool now?
So right now it's in private preview. So if we have any of our customers that are wanting to maybe join the private preview and start playing around with this new tool, let us know, reach out to us, let us know. We can see about getting you in the private preview where you can start testing this new tool. But the idea with this tool is similar to again, back to the old West 7 days. There was a tool called ICE, the image configuration editor, ICE. And people loved that tool because you could pick a template. It was kind of a wizard, and you could pick a template for what kind of device you were building, and then it would sort of customize the features. And then you could create different images, and it made your life pretty simple when it came to deploying a different customized image and builds. And this new tool is very, very similar. Microsoft's been working on it for a while. It's come along very nicely. And so just think of it as a wizard-driven tool that allows you to pick some of these different packages and different type of applications, and it will create you a custom image. So again, preview only right now, and they're targeting spring of 2022 for maybe it to be available.
Awesome. Let's move quickly, right? Because I want to spend as much time as we can on the making the decision between the two, even though we've already touched on it. So can we go quickly on the next slide to talk about the real time?
Yeah, we've kind of touched on it. Yeah, the real time, just really quick. A lot of folks have experienced what we called hard real time in the past. That was the Windows CE, the Compact and Windows CE family of products. They were hard real time. They could do 50 millisecond response. And this product is not hard real time, it's soft real time. So it brings it down to 200 milliseconds, which is the bottom blue area there. But if you have a situation where you want to be able to assign specific processor cores to your application and make sure that it gets all of the processor power and isn't interrupted by anything else. If you have a situation where timing is very important, whether it be an industrial controller or something that measures things within a certain time period or counts certain things or controls robots and has to be very accurate, this new soft real time is a perfect product for that. So I think that's good enough coverage for it, because yeah, you're right. We want to save some time for the end.
One question for me is what is kind of based on what your customers are saying, what would be kind of the number of milliseconds that's needed? Is the 50 millisecond minimum full loop cycle time enough, or do we need to go even further down in terms of?
Yeah. For many of our customers, the 200 milliseconds will work for them, and being able to assign cores to their application, that's a huge improvement. I think my experience with my customer base is I have a number of them that are super excited about this and have already started testing with it to see if it'll accomplish what they want it to do.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, let's move quickly to a dual application focus.
Yeah, we kind of covered this one already,
yeah.
But again, this is a visual, so I wouldn't spend too much time here other than the fact that it is not, the point here though is it is not, well, we'll look at the chart at the end and see, because I can't remember if it's on the current product or not, so we'll come back to it. And then this is just a recap of all of the different features that the IoT product brings to you. So, if you're thinking of using a Windows 10, which we'll show a chart later as well, but Windows 10 does not get you all of these things. Windows 10 Pro, I should say. Windows 10 Pro or Windows 11 Pro, you don't get this stuff. This stuff comes with the IoT. These are your advanced lockdown features. So if you're building an appliance, these are the features you want, and this is what the Windows IoT family brings.
Yep.
Awesome. So let's move to the big question: which OS is right for your application, right? So let's see. We don't have a poll for this one, right? So let's move to the solution, right? So you know, when do you think? Yeah. Why is the primary version that OEM continue to use the Pro version, right? What's kind of the
yeah, so it's Microsoft actually had sort of started this chart, and they left off the older products. So when we kind of got together, we said, hey, the big question we're getting is, you know, and it came up earlier, is why would I move from the older 2019 to the 2021? So we added the 2019 to this chart so that we could get a full comparison. And we've highlighted the 2021 in the middle because it honestly is the product that gives you the most features and the longest support with the 10 years from its launch date. So it's going to get you into 2031, 2032 if you start using that product. And it's the multi-app assigned access is coming in the future for Windows 11, but it is available in the Windows 10 2021 product now. The toolkit that also gets you the reduced footprint, that's again coming in spring. There are some ways to reduce your footprint now, just not using the toolkit. The toolkit will be coming later. So I don't know, Tze, what other ones stand out to you here?
Yeah, I think this chart is also more or less in line with the poll question we had earlier, right? It ticks all the boxes that a typical OEM has for the OS. In my opinion, it follows suit what was already great with the 2019 version. And on top, you have additional features, as we covered in the earlier discussion. And why not Windows 11 IoT yet? I think the LTSC topic is the one that stands out the most for me. Unless, of course, you need the features that's within Windows 11 and not supported by Windows 10. And that would be the main decision point on Windows 11, in my opinion, right at this moment. So when LTSC version comes out, I think it will be a different conversation. But as of now, my feeling tells, yeah, for most OEMs, unless they're driven by what the end customer is asking for, as we've encountered already, otherwise Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC is definitely 2021 is definitely the one that I will promote, as well as what I expect the most questions about and demand for.
And another one which we touched on, which is kind of not highlighted, is right in the middle, those two, the soft real-time and the unified write filters. Yeah. Those are not available in the 2019. I see that those probably should be highlighted in this one too. But you almost get to a point where they're almost all highlighted right down the middle because they're all available there. And then again, except for the Wi-Fi 6E and the USB 4, that's kind of a Windows 11 thing. And then I've actually already been increasing this chart further, including the minimum system requirements around the memory and the processor and the storage and the TPM. That stuff can be added to this chart as well, which I've already started. Just didn't make the cut in this one. So I think our customers, when they look at this, they'll be able to, this will help them absolutely make the decision of which one to go to.
I'm kind of curious, right? So on the GPU compute support, right? So I mean, I would think that a lot of people who are starting to use AI for IoT and at the edge would be interested in that feature. I mean, is it true, or can people go away with Windows 10 IoT 2019 to run their AI load? Or how do they do that?
Yeah, I mean the GPU compute support ties in also with the Linux subsystem and the eFlow. And if you're trying to run IoT applications on the edge, and then especially trying to push that data to the cloud through the Azure IoT Hub, having that GPU compute support, absolutely huge advantage, as well as the Linux subsystem and being able to use the eFlow. Yeah. And then we didn't mention the device update center has also been improved heavily so that you can now manage your IoT enterprise devices in a similar way that you could with IoT Core in the past. So it definitely has increased manageability. So overall, it's increased security, increased features, increased reliability, increased manageability. Again, I still feel like the 2021 product is the way to go.
Awesome. And so moving to the next slide. Talking about Pro versus IoT Enterprise LTSC. So where do you fit? So
yeah, we definitely wanted to get a shot in against our #1 competitor, which is Pro. So and I wanted to quickly give a real world story in this scenario. So I had a customer that I probably was on the phone with them for over an hour going over these exact differences here. Because they had a big project for a sports arena for digital signage. It was going to be 250 screens in a sports arena. They were going to be using Intel NUCs. And the question came down to, did they use the Windows 10 Pro that came already on the NUC, or did they switch to IoT? And I gave them all of the information, which is covered here. Much longer support, much better control. It's a single product key, more features, controlling Windows Update, all of that stuff. And they went away. And then about a month later, a little over a month later, I got a call and they were ready to place an order for the IoT. And they said they had went with Pro, and right in the middle of the sporting event, a pop-up pushing to notify the customers about the next version of Windows 10, the fall update, I believe it was, popped up on 250 screens in a sports arena. And they literally no keyboards and no mice and no way to get to it to take it down, right? So they learned the hard way. So they came back and ordered the IoT, ended up re-imaging all the systems. And so I would just say there are way more advantages to IoT over Pro. Don't make those kind of mistakes. Get control of your device and manage it.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, in the poll we had like 24% or so answered that they're having some solutions on Pro. So definitely take the key takeaway that Ken shared just now. It happens more than often, and often the case it's not even that they deliberately choose Pro, but it's sometimes it's really not being aware that you have these benefits with IoT channel.
And if you know, Michael was asking a very basic question, which is why do you need Windows IoT for? I mean, is there like versus Pro, right? So I mean, as you said, it's kind of it's all about the support. It's all about the full control. It's about, I mean, is it also about device management and all those type of? It sounds like it's a much more sound foundation as soon as you start, managing a lot of devices. But I mean, can you comment a little bit?
Absolutely. It's primarily about Windows updates and controlling the updates and getting the support. I've had customers say, well, with Pro, I can just turn off the updates, or I can edit the registry and block them. And I'll be like, well, do you know that every 6 months there's a new build of Windows 10, and if you're not staying on the right one, you're not going to be supported. You won't, you're going to be out of support. And then when your customers find out you're out of support, they're not going to be happy. And so why not simplify your life and just go with the long-term service channel, get 10 years of support, and have full control over the updates. So it honestly is a no-brainer. It's just the problem is some devices come preloaded with Pro, and some customers don't want to spend the extra money for IoT, but it is well worth it to buy the IoT and get the 10 years of support.
Yeah, but even looking at from Microsoft's perspective in terms of policy, as you can see on a slide here, because there's some text here, but the Pro version is really meant for general purpose use. But when you're an OEM and you're building a dedicated appliance or a fixed purpose embedded solution, then really, the Windows IoT channel is the only right channel if you want to follow Microsoft policy. And looking at how Microsoft is supporting and the features you get with IoT channel, it fits hand in hand with what a typical OEM needs in terms of the support as well as the life cycle. Because once you've designed in your solution, for most OEMs, they benefit from fixing the bill of material for multiple years and not really having to look back and update anything on their solution. Because in some cases, like in healthcare or in industry, we also have to consider certification. And going with the IoT channel, it removes all this type of headache you would get with when you are on a pro version.
Yeah, and I would think like when you're an OEM and you have your product installed at your customers for a long period of time, right? Yep. You want to make sure that you have the support of Microsoft when something happens, right? You don't want to be left in the dust, right? Yes. Which you would if you were using the Pro, right? You only have 18 months of support versus 10 years, and so if your product life cycle is less than 18 months, then maybe the professional work. But if as soon as it's more than 18 months, you want to have that support, right? So that makes perfect sense. I mean, we are right at the top of the hour. It's 9:58. Is there any other quick question from the audience? There was one question. I don't know if people saw it about the upgrade path from 2019 LTSC to 2021 LTSC. So say you had the answer. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit before we wrap up?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's no free upgrade path. So once you have deployed 2019 version and it's in field already, if your end customer or the OEM wants to upgrade to 2021 version, there is a field upgrade license for that. The cost is exactly the same as a new license. But yeah, the only way to upgrade is to buy a new license meant for field upgrades. So you can ship the license without the appliance.
Awesome. Ken, thank you so much for sharing. Oh, we have one new message. Just wanted to make sure. We use Microsoft Deployment Workbench to deploy custom Windows image. Is it still good enough? Are there better tools? Would the Edge device image builder play the same role? Very quick.
It's definitely still good enough for now, but you definitely want to start. I would suggest you maybe join the private preview of this new Edge builder because it will be similar. Yes, with more features.
The Trevin and Jean had the same question. So awesome. So yeah, so join the private preview of the Edge device image builder. If you have any other questions, you have the email msembedded@arrow.com. Reach out and Ken and Mark and they will be available to answer your questions. Moving forward, thank you, Ken and Tze, right, for the webinar. Moving forward, just wanted to let you know we have plenty of webinar coming up around 5G and MEX. We have a big state of the industry edge computing webinar where we're gonna completely update our taxonomy around edge computing. We have the autonomous vehicle update in January. So January 20th is going to be, and then we have the state of the industry 5G almost all at the same date. So we're gonna change that. Thank you for participating. Please fill out the quality questionnaire as you leave. Stay healthy. And again, Ken and Tze, thank you so much for participating. Very helpful conversation. And I mean, it's a big thing at the edge. Those conversations. Microsoft is a big player there, and is gonna be a very strong player both at the edge and in the cloud. So thank you very much.
Thank you to you, Philip. Ken, speak to you soon.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you all for joining. Have a nice evening.
Bye.